Hey everybody, how are you? Karen King here from World Schooling Central, and thank you for joining me on take 2 of the Secrets of House Sitting with Kids. Now it's going to take a couple of minutes obviously for people to join us, for the little Karen's Live button to pop up on people's screens, so we'll just take a second to let people join us. And in the meantime, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself so that if you haven't yet met me or haven't heard of me, you'll know a little bit about who I am. So my name is Karen King. I am the creator of World Schooling Central, and I'm an Australian, as you can probably tell by the accent, a mum of 2, wife, worldwide traveller and full-time house sitter. So we got started in house sitting right after we started traveling. We left Australia in January of 2016 and we immediately started house sitting pretty much full time right from word go. Now we just absolutely loved it right from the start, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that shortly because there's so many benefits of house sitting, and I want to go through each of them with you step by step, so you've got a really good understanding of exactly what house sitting is and how your family can benefit as well. So stepping back a couple of years before we headed off, we were living I would say a typical Australian life. We had a house, a beautiful house that we'd built. We had 2 kids in school. We both had jobs. I had a small business, a small cake decorating business that was doing really well. Everything should have been really good. However, what we discovered was, after a little bit of I guess soul searching at one stage, we discovered that we weren't entirely happy. Things just weren't going to plan. I was exhausted all of the time. I was missing out on my children growing up. I wasn't seeing them growing up. So at that point, I realized there had to be a little bit more to life. And so we made a decision to take a holiday. We booked a 7-week trip down the coast of South America, through Bolivia, and then over to the US. And it was on that trip that I discovered location independence. And I discovered that my love of travel could actually be a lot more than just a little vacation every now and then. Now I'm just going to stop briefly and just make sure one of my settings is working on here. I think it's all good. Make sure you say hi when you get started with us. So we made a big decision. We decided to sell pretty much everything we own and travel the world. And it's been an absolutely incredible adventure. And one of the big parts of our travel adventures has been our house sitting. And it's one of the ways that we can afford to do this because it does cost money to travel. Certainly not as much as living in Australia full time, or what we were spending prior to travel, but we're able to save a substantial amount of money by house sitting full time. So let's kick off. We've got a couple of people watching. It's been really hard to find a time that suits everybody. And as some of you would know, this is take 2 because for some reason video number 1 disappeared on Facebook. So here we are doing take 2, and a big hello to all the people that are joining us on the replay, because I know there's a lot of people that are keen to find out about house sitting and how they can get started as well. So the goal today is to help you understand exactly what house sitting is and how your family can benefit from it. Because I know a lot of people have heard of house sitting, but really have no idea how to get started. Perhaps are a little bit fearful of the process, don't fully understand it. And to be honest, I think you're absolutely missing out. This is how we travel full time, and it's saving us an absolute fortune and offering us a lot of additional experiences that we would otherwise miss out on. So we're going to kick off and just start by telling you the benefits of house sitting. And this list just goes on and on and on. The big one that I talk about a lot is the fact that you save a substantial amount of money. One of the great things about house sitting is that no money changes hands. House sitting occurs when a homeowner wants to go away on vacation and they have pets and their home that they need cared for whilst they're away. So instead of putting their pets into expensive pet care, we as house sitters come into their home, we live in their home full time. We are here to protect their home, to make sure that it's not empty whilst they're away. But most importantly, we're here to look after their animals. And everywhere we Everywhere we go, we have a huge variety of different animals that we care for, and it's been a wonderful part of the experience for us. But the big thing for us is the fact that we're not paying any money for this accommodation, and that's absolutely huge. Here in Australia, as an example, right now we are in a beautiful, beautiful home a few kilometres out of Port Macquarie on the east coast of Australia, enjoying the beaches, the beautiful weather. We've got 2 gorgeous dogs that we're looking after. And honestly, if I had to put a price, I was looking on Airbnb today, and I think you'd be looking around the $200 Australian a night if you were looking to pay for something like this. So that's a huge amount of money, and we're here for nearly 4 weeks. And to top it off, they've left us a car. Now, you know, we're traveling Australia at the moment, so we have our own car, but if we were international visitors coming into Australia, what an incredible advantage. The cost of rental cars here in Australia is $40 or $50 or $60 a day. So, you know, 4 weeks of a free car rental also adds up quite substantially. So the amount of money you can save in house sitting is quite substantial. We've calculated that we're doing about 300 nights a year of house sitting. And whilst if we were in Airbnbs or hotels, we might actually rent cheaper accommodation, smaller accommodation. By being in house sits, we've got lots of space, and we're therefore in homes that would ordinarily cost us a lot more money to rent. So by our calculations, we're saving anywhere upwards of 25 or 30,000 US dollars per year by house sitting. So it's a huge, huge plus and a real windfall for the budget, as you can imagine. Now, the other benefit is that we have a full kitchen. We're in a home. It's a regular home. People live here on a regular basis, and we're in their home. So we have a full kitchen, which with a family really matters. It gives us the ability to prepare meals at home. Again, helping us to keep our budget low, which is an absolute fantastic advantage to the house sitting. I mentioned earlier possible car hire. So we have a car at the moment that we could use to get around. We have 2 dogs that love to go down to the beach, so we throw them in the back of the homeowner's car, and we head off. We can take them wherever we want to go, and they love getting out and about, and it's a great way for us to explore as well. So that is a huge advantage, and we've actually found in many sits across the world that homeowners are quite happy to lend you a car, and it's actually quite easy in most countries. It's just a matter of adding our name to their insurance and providing our license details. So nice and easy. From there, the other thing that we've really loved is the fact that we're staying outside of tourist hotspots. Now, we travel full time, so we don't do a lot of the really touristy type activities. And so we really enjoy being in a local environment. We love being amongst the locals. So if we're in the United Arab Emirates, we're living in a beautiful big house, surrounded by other locals' houses. We're shopping where the locals shop. We're living our normal lives amongst the locals. And we're paying local prices too, which, as you can imagine, when you're in the tourist areas, the prices get jacked up just a little bit. And so by being in the local areas, we're able to save some additional money in that way as well. The other thing about being in a local home is that our visits can actually be a little bit longer. Most of our visits, we aim for about 4 weeks, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks in a home. So it gives us time to really settle in, to really experience the area without having to rush around and be on some crazy hectic schedule. If we want to hang out and watch TV for the day, or just jump on our computers or get some work done, we've got the space and we've got the time to do that. We personally find that a day at home and then a day out works really, really well for us, and it means that we can really experience life, our lives living in a different country. The other benefit of being in the local areas and getting to know the homeowners is that they'll quite often give you their favourite things to do, their favourite restaurants, their must-see recommendations. So many times we've arrived in people's homes and they've provided us huge lists of things that they love to do, and they're things that aren't necessarily always on the, TripAdvisor type sites. So that's been another huge advantage. And speaking of the homeowners, we've made some amazing friends. So we've connected with so many people across the world, and we've made some amazing friends that we are still connected with right now. So it's been an incredible way to get to know people and make some new friends. So of course, the other one that I haven't mentioned at this point is the pets. We are huge animal lovers, and we can't imagine traveling the world without looking after pets. I've had pets my whole entire life. The children have had pets their whole entire life, and it just wouldn't be the same if we were to be traveling full time and not have the pets around us to care for. So every home we go to, we have different experiences. We have different pets. We've had all sorts of pets across the world. I think we're over 50 dogs at the moment, and 30 odd cats. We've had chickens and geese and turkeys and turtles and horses, a one-horned goat. The list just goes on and on. My youngest was telling me today that her favorite was an asthmatic cat that we had in Thailand. So the list has been absolutely endless, but it's just been wonderful. And I mean, we all know what pets can do for our children and for our own lives. But the beauty of house sitting is that we get to do the travel, we get to see the world, but we don't miss out on the experience of having animals that we would have if we were at home here in Australia. The other thing I love about having the animals is that when we're walking the dogs, we get to explore, we get to see the local area. The dogs we have at the moment, as I mentioned, love going to the beach. So, we've really enjoyed popping them in the back of the car, heading off to the beach and, enjoying an hour or so at the beach, watching the dogs run around in the water and on the sand and just having a lovely time as a family with them. So the list of benefits is just incredible. Another one that I hadn't mentioned yet is the amount of space. Hey Donna, the amount of space that we have when we're in home. So, we're in a lovely home at the moment. I think we've got 4 bedrooms, formal lounge, living, huge backyard. If we were gardeners, we've got a whole backyard that we can garden in. And we have space to explore, but to get away from each other if we need to. We're together full time, so having the space to veg out, to pull up a corner of the the couch and read a book, or we're not on top of each other, which we would be if we were in a hotel. So it is wonderful to have the space. If we were paying for accommodation and we were traveling in hotels or Airbnbs, the amount of space that we would have would be much lower. Hey Jeff. And so what that means for us is that we are in bigger places and we have the space, as I said, to just live very comfortably. But what it also means is that we're in much bigger spaces. The smallest place we've been in is, I think, a 2-bedroom apartment. But then we've gone to the other extreme to a 7-bedroom, 7-bathroom place in the United Arab Emirates. So the variety of homes is incredible. We've become very adaptable, and homeowners will quite often say to us that our home's too small for a family of 4, but we're incredibly adaptable, and the experience of house sitting is what we really enjoy. Hey Malin. So it's just, there's one thing after another. I was talking to the kids tonight and I said, well, what is it that you love about house sitting? What would you say to people that are house sitting or thinking of house sitting with their kids? And they just love it themselves. They're professional house sitters in their own right. They love the animals. They love having the animals there to care for. They love having a new house every few weeks or a couple of months. They love the variety of animals that we've had, and they've learned from a parent's perspective. They've learned a huge amount about different types of animals. We had, in the United Arab Emirates, we had chickens that we cared for, and we ultimately put a couple of eggs in the incubator and learned all about the life cycle of chickens, and actually hatched 2 while we were there. So, that's all part of the experience, and potentially things we wouldn't have otherwise done. I definitely didn't think hatching chickens was going to be a part of our travel plans, that's for sure. So it has allowed us so many advantages. In between house sitting, we do go and do Airbnbs and hotels when we need to. There's times that we want to go into areas that we don't have a house sit for, but that's fine. We're happy to spend the money because we know we have, future house sits coming available. So what I want to do now is go through the process of securing a house sit. So if you're thinking of house sitting, what is the process that you have to go through and what things do you need to consider? The first thing that you need to do is consider joining a house sitting site. There are so many ways to find house sits. The method I use the most, by far the most, is paid house sitting sites. And in the intro to this live call, I've actually listed a couple of links there that will direct you to the sites I'm about to talk about. The one that I probably use the most is called Trusted House Sitters. And if you follow the link that I've given you, you'll actually save 20% on the membership price. And what Trusted House Sitters does is they connect homeowners with house sitters. They are probably the biggest in the world as far as house sits are concerned, and we have secured most of our house sits through Trusted House Sitters. There's a huge variety of house sits available all over the world. Pick a destination and you're likely to find something. So they're the one that I use the most. Throughout Europe, I love House Sit Match. The customer service from House Sit Match is phenomenal. They're a great place to start if you're new and maybe a little bit nervous. They're a wonderful place to start because the team at House Sit Match will help you every step of the way. You can actually talk with them and get help from them that you just can't get from many other places. So I love House Sit Match. In other countries, we've used House Sit Mexico. Here in Australia, we use Aussie House Sitters. There's loads of house sits on there as well. And another one that I do love is House Sitting World. They actually pull a lot of house sits from outside sources. So like your Aussie house sitters and from the individual companies, they actually pull all of the house sits into their system so that you can actually visit one spot and find a lot of different house sits from all the other different websites. So look, you simply need to jump onto Google and type in house sitting website or house sitting, and you'll be able to find loads, but by far Trusted House Sitters has been our favorite, and it's probably the one that I'd recommend you starting with because it does give you a much broader variety of homes that you can get started with. Now, the next step is to create an amazing profile. And the reason I say amazing is because it's really important to sell yourself at that point. You need to catch the owner's attention. You need to help them very quickly understand why you are the person that they need. And you need to stand out from your competition. Now, I've actually been on both sides of the fence. My parents often get house sitters and I've helped them get started, and I've seen the type of responses that they're getting. And you would be surprised just how poor some of the profiles are. And I quite often wonder how they actually think that their profile instills the confidence in us to select them as a house sitter. So simple things, choose some amazing photographs. I often laugh that I've secured a whole bunch of house sits because I've got a really cool selfie that I took of all of us, and that's my profile picture. And the number of times homeowners have said, oh my goodness, I just love the smiles on your faces and I couldn't go past you because the smile just caught my attention. So make your photos stand out. Make sure your profile explains exactly why they need you. Make sure all the spelling is correct. Make sure you're pointing out what they are going to get out of having you there. Don't rave about, we'd love to house sit because, we'd love to travel the world and it would be amazing to do this and we. Make sure you're talking about how you're going to help them because they're looking for somebody to care for their animals and their house. For them, they'll be more than happy for you to have a good time, but what they care about the most is making sure that their home and their animals are well looked after. The next step is to apply. It is an absolute numbers game trying to find a house sit, you just have to keep trying. Now, I often get asked how we are so successful in our house sitting. And one of the big things that I think goes to our advantage is the fact that we choose our house sits, or we choose our travel destinations based on where we can get our house sits. So that means that we're incredibly flexible. So for example, at the end of this house sit, I would go onto Trusted House Sitters and I would type in the date that we're available from, and I would just see what comes up. So I have no fixed idea of where I want to go next. For us, it's about experiencing our life in different destinations. So what that does is it opens up a whole range of house sits. Now, you may like to, sometimes we look for a specific house sit in a specific area. But if you can, try and keep your options open. Pardon me. So that will just open up the number of house sits that you can apply for, and then just apply. It is a huge numbers game, and especially when you're starting. It is harder when you're starting because you don't have the history, you don't have the experience, and it's harder to build confidence in the homeowner. So initially, you just need to apply for as many as you can. And as you get the experience and as you get the reviews, you'll start to find that it gets easier and easier. Now, so I say apply often, apply quickly. You want to be one of the first to apply for a house sit. So keep an eye on the websites. You need to check regularly. If you're actively looking for a house sit, I'll jump on the websites a couple of times a day. They do have notification settings that you can set up so that you'll get an email when something matches your interests. But I just get on there regularly because the idea for me is you want to be in the first couple of people to apply for a house sit. And the reason I say that is because imagine you're a house sitter, you put your home on Trusted House Sitters to open it up for house sitters, and suddenly you're flooded with applications. You're going to start at the top of the list and start working your way through. And generally within the first few, maybe even the first 10, you're going to find somebody that sounds good. You can Skype with them, you can talk to them on the phone, and generally you're going to find somebody within those first few people. Now, that's not to say that you can't apply for house sits once they have more people, more applications. On Trusted House Sitters, you can actually see how many people have applied. And as part of that, I do like to apply when it says, there's been 1 to 3. I get quite excited when I find a house sit that I'm interested in that instance. However, I've applied for house sits that have had 25 or more applicants and I've still managed to get them. So don't avoid applying for them if they've got more. If they're still live on the website, generally you'll find with Trusted House Sitters that the sit is still available. It may mean that they haven't found somebody, so just apply anyway. So as I said, apply often, apply quickly, and get references. Now, this can sound a little bit tricky, and I know a lot of people find this a big stumbling block, especially with Trusted House Sitters, because the way their system works is to only show references from other sits that you've already done. So when you're first getting started, it's a little bit difficult because you've not done a sit, so you don't have a reference. So my little tip for that is when you're getting started, have a look in your local area and see if you can find any local house sits that, they might just be 1 or 2 nights. Apply for them. Try and, the great thing is you're right there, so you can say in your application letter, hey, look, can I come and meet you and see if we're a good match? And the great thing is that if it's only 1 or 2 nights, you've actually got a higher chance of getting that house sit. And the reason I say that is because people like us, for example, we rarely look for short-term house sits. We're looking for 2, 3, 4 weeks. So those overnighters or the weekend house sits often sit a little bit longer, or alternatively, you'll often find somebody will put a house sit up just a couple of days or even a week before they need to go. So that has been a fantastic hint or tip, I guess, for lots of friends that have started house sitting. They've managed to secure a house sit pretty quickly, managed to get their first review. And the great thing is once you've got your first review, it becomes a whole lot easier. So give that a go. So once you score your first house sit, how do you be an amazing house sitter. And this is really important because you want these 5-star reviews. The more 5-star reviews you get, the easier it becomes to get more house sits. So to be the best house sitter you can be, communicate really well. It's really important that if you've secured a house sit a few weeks in advance, keep in touch with the homeowner. The last thing you want them to do is start getting nervous because you've suddenly disappeared off the face of the earth. They might be worried that you're not coming or that you've changed your mind. Keep in touch with them, even if it's once a fortnight or once a week, depending on the time frame. Keep in touch with them and just let them know that everything's fine, that you're still going to be there. Be flexible with your arrival time. Different homeowners like different things. So the homeowner where we've just arrived a couple of days ago, they wanted us to come 2 nights before they left. And it was good for them because they had a lot of things that they wanted to go over with us. And it's great for us because we get to know the local area and we know it gives us quality time to really understand the homeowners and what's important to them. So we learn how we can be amazing house sitters. Others want you to arrive the day they're leaving. Quite often we will get there and have 15 minutes handover. Other times we've arrived at a home and sort of missed them on their way. So they may have needed to leave earlier, and for whatever reason, if the house wasn't big enough, they couldn't have us the night before. Sometimes that's just the way it works out. I do try to be there when the homeowner comes home because I do like to do that handover when they get home. But you just have to be flexible and work with the homeowner. I try to be very flexible and meet their needs, not necessarily mine. Ask lots of questions when you arrive at the home. Ask lots of questions, and quite often you'll find the homeowner will give you a user manual, a house manual, or a pet manual, and it will document everything that you need to know during your stay. Sometimes though you don't get that, so it's really important that you take lots and lots of notes. You need to know exactly what it is that your homeowner's asking, what's important to them, what are the must-do things that you need to do while they're away. Because the thing is, we've not had any problems to date, but it wouldn't be hard if we didn't communicate well. It would be quite easy for things to go a little awry. So we try to communicate very well with our homeowners to make sure that they are comfortable, that we're comfortable, and that we feel like we truly understand what it is that they're after. We try to keep in regular contact with them when they're away, and just sending quick snaps of their animals so that they can see that the animals are doing well. If anything arises whilst they're away and we need to check in with them, they're always more than happy for us to send a quick message. When it's time when you're actually at the house sit, make sure you meet their requirements. Take it seriously. You have this amazing opportunity to be in this location for whatever period of time without paying for accommodation. So take it seriously. If they need the dog walked once a day, take the dog for a walk once a day. It's not a big price to pay for the huge amount of benefits you get by staying in their home. Now, having said that, one of the things that I do make a point of doing is when I'm searching for house sits, make sure that the homeowner's requirements meet your interests. We've seen house sits there with 7 dogs. Not interested, sorry. And there's been other times where they've said, we need our dogs walked at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and for an hour each, with half an hour in the middle of the day. And that's as a family wanting to explore, quite happy to get out and exercise, but that's a level of commitment that we just don't want to take on. So we've avoided those sort of house sits as well. So make sure when you're applying that they meet your requirements. So when you're there, meet the homeowner's requirements. When it's time to leave, try and leave the home cleaner than you found it. And sometimes that's easy, sometimes not so much. But make sure, we even go to the stage at times of taking photos of things, so we know that we can put them back where we found them. Stock the fridge. If when you got there they had milk and bread and eggs and things like that, leaving a few little bits and pieces like that makes it really, really comfortable for a homeowner to come home. They don't have to, worry about getting, the necessities so that they can make themselves a cup of coffee or have breakfast the following morning. And then make sure you leave a thank you note. It's really lovely to have the opportunity to house sit. For us, it's a huge honor, I think, for us. And the funny thing is that quite often the homeowners are just as thankful. And so that's why I constantly say that it's a real win-win scenario, because the homeowners are just as thankful to us for being there as we are to them for choosing us. But we do like to leave a little thank you gift at the end, and quite often we end up with a thank you gift from them as well. So it's a lovely, lovely opportunity and a lovely way to travel the world. So they're probably my biggest tips in terms of how to actually be a successful house sitter. Now, don't forget that if you want to ask me any questions during the call, feel free to ask, because I can see the questions popping up and I'm more than happy to answer them. Now, the title of this call is The Secrets to House Sitting with Kids. Now, one of the topics that I get asked about the most is, how do you do it with kids? Don't homeowners worry about you having kids there? And, are they going to stop us from getting house sits? Like I said, it is a numbers game and you do just have to apply. But the great thing is that across the board, homeowners will have different requirements. Some will want a single person. Some will want a couple. Some are quite happy with families. The thing to realize is that there are many animals in the world that absolutely love kids, and that is why our kids have been our secret weapon. So many times we've managed to secure a house sit purely because we had kids. The homeowner, time and time again, I've had a message from the homeowner saying, oh, we would love to have you house sit for us because our dogs just love kids. And so they're the reason why we got the house sit. Now, on Trusted House Sitters, there is a little box when you're doing a search that says family friendly. I never tick that box. And the reason I don't tick it is because some homeowners don't realize just how much a family could be of benefit to them. The one we're in right now, they said to us, we never considered having a family, but we've spent 2 days with them now and they were wrapped. They were so happy to have us here, and the animals just idolized the 2 kids. And so the homeowners were thrilled that they chose a family, and they had actually in their listing made a note. They'd actually left the family friendly box unticked. So had I ticked family friendly, this house sit would not have come up in the search results. So leave that little box unticked. Have confidence in the fact that your kids can help your chances. Okay. Now, obviously, when you get into a house, your kids need to behave, but you know what? For me, they don't have to behave any more here than they do elsewhere, really. If there's things that I don't want them to touch, then I'll just put them out of reach and, make a point of putting them back when I get there. We break glasses from time to time, we break plates from time to time, but they're all replaceable. And that's no different to if it was my house and we, they broke plates and glasses in our house. These things happen, and homeowners have been incredibly good with those sort of things. They know that these things happen, and it's not a big job for me to have to go out and replace these things. So kids have been an amazing way to secure house sits. There are going to be people that are going to say, oh, I'm sorry, my dogs don't like kids. That's fine. Yep, no worries. Thanks very much. Good luck finding somebody else. There'll be others that will say, oh, I don't think the home's big enough. But you know what? That happens. Every home is going to be different. And as I said right at the start, it is a numbers game. So just apply, and eventually you will get one. And the more you do, the more references you get, the easier it becomes. Okay. Now, I want to see if anybody's got any questions, but I'm not seeing any come up. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you've got. What I do want to touch on now is some of the problems that people generally face when they're trying to get started as house sitters. So often I hear from people saying, oh, I've heard of house sitting, but I'm really not sure. Obviously, having kids has been a major concern for many people, and I think I've answered that, at this point. But what I do find is that a lot of people have trouble getting started. It's something a bit unfamiliar. It's maybe a little bit scary. They don't know what to do. They don't know what it is that they that's going to win them the house sit, so to speak. It can be a little bit scary and a little bit daunting, but it is a matter of jumping in. The other thing that I do find is that a lot of people just getting started make silly mistakes when they're writing their profile. And unfortunately, it means they could miss out on house sits. And so it is something that you need to put a bit of time in when you're getting started, because for all the benefits that I've described, it would be an absolute shame to be missing out on things because of some simple mistakes that you're making at the start. The other thing that I find is that people struggle to get their first review because they're trying to do so much in getting a house sit, and it can be really, really daunting. And unfortunately, what I do find is that a lot of people get frustrated and just give up. And I encourage you to just keep trying, because the benefits that we've experienced from house sitting have been absolutely incredible. And it is an opportunity that, that you as travelers can utilize to your advantage. And like I said, there's huge advantages to being a house sitter, but this is something that is hugely advantageous to the homeowners as well. So it really is a wonderful experience. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. We've had 30 different house sits. We've been all over the world. We've house sat in China and South Korea and Thailand, the United Arab Emirates, Sweden, all over the place. And it has taken us to some incredible places. And the great thing is, because we're not paying for accommodation, we get to spend that money on the flights. So, we get to go all over the place. And so as a family, I highly recommend that this is something that you have a go of. And to help people get started, because I have had a lot of people sort of, ask me questions and obviously feel a little bit nervous about getting started. So what I've decided to do is I've created a course. It's called House Sitting with Kids Kickstarter. It's basically a period of time where we can work together and I can actually help you kickstart your house schooling adventures. Let's try that again. Your house sitting adventures. So House Sitting with Kids Kickstarter. Clearly, I can't share everything that I know, all the experiences, answer your questions in the time that I've got in a live call. So what I've done is I've put this course together, and it goes for 3 weeks. Every day for 21 days, you'll get a small daily prompt with an action item. And what that will do over the 21 days, it will help you work through the process of getting started as a house sitter. I will help you build your profile. I will help you choose photos. I will help you work out which house sits to apply and which ones to avoid. I promise you, there's some that you want to avoid. I will help you through every little step of the process so that by the end, you are a confident house sitter. You're ready to apply for your first house sit. If you haven't already, secured a house sit during our time together. The goal of the course is to take you from being a complete newbie or somebody who's tried a little bit but not had a lot of success, and turn you into somebody that's confident and ready to get out there and start living your house sitting adventures. So what I'll do is help you create your profile that looks super professional. And as I said earlier, that is really, really important that you have that right from word go. I'll help you select which sits to apply for and which ones to avoid. I'll help you write an application letter that homeowners will just love. And the number of application letters I've seen that really you just have to wonder, what they were thinking. It's really important. That's your time to shine with the homeowner, and there's certain things that you need to cover off in that session, in that letter, to grab their attention. So I'll help you create an awesome application letter. I'll help you feel confident and turn your kids into your secret weapon. I'll help you get your first yes. My goal in this 3 weeks, in this 21 days, is to help you get your first yes. If you're not quite ready, that's fine. You'll be confident and you'll be ready to apply when the timing is right. But if you're ready now, my goal is to help you get your first yes and help you celebrate that very first yes. Of course, I want you to be an amazing house sitter. I want to help you become an amazing house sitter and help you create repeat customers. And of course, I want to help you get your first 5-star review. So in the course, you're also going to learn how to move from one sit to the next with as few gaps as possible. We've been house sitting through Queensland and now New South Wales in Australia for the last 3 months. And in that time, we have not had a spare night, apart from 3 nights, which we were quite happy to have because we managed to spend them with friends. So we've managed to secure house sits back to back to back, which is absolutely fantastic. And you know, there's quite a few hints and tips that I can give you that will help you achieve that as well. So honestly, the point of the whole course is to help make you successful. Now, if you remember earlier in the call, I said that house sitting can save you a small fortune. The cost of this course is going to be $149. And the beautiful thing about that is in your first house sit, it's paid for the course. So there's no reason to say no. If you want to get started and you want to do it quickly, then it's an amazing opportunity to jump on board. And I would love to work with you within our Facebook group and help you get started. In less than 21 days, you're going to be ready to apply for your first house sit. And as I said, in 1 or 2 nights in your first house sit, you will have paid for the cost of the course. There is so much content in the course. I've sat down today and I have spent hours putting it all together, and it's really exciting the amount of info that is going to be in this course, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun on the way. So at that point, I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm not sure if there's a problem with the Facebook Live, but you are more than welcome to message me directly. I'm going to share this video across all the different social media platforms. So please, if you wanted to ask a question and for some reason you're not able to at the moment, please feel free to pop it under the video, tag me in your question, and I'll be back in there as quickly as possible to answer that. Otherwise, you will see on this call, there is a link to the course. Super simple process. And the great thing is, for the first 5 people that join, I'm actually offering a special bonus where we will actually do a one-on-one call. So I will personally review your profile. I'll personally, help you, review your letter. Whatever it is you need, we'll have a one-on-one session for half an hour so that I can help you directly instead of just in the Facebook group. So it's an awesome opportunity, but it's only for the first 5 because I just don't have time to do it for everybody. I'm sorry. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you've managed to learn a few hints and tips. I hope I've given you the confidence to get started. And if you do want to give it a go and you want to get started quickly, jump into our group and or follow the link at least, jump into the group and join us for the course, because we're going to have a whole lot of fun. And I'm hoping that there's going to be lots of celebrating happening in the group as all of our participants manage to secure their first house sits. Like I said, for some reason, I don't seem to be getting a lot of questions, and maybe there's a problem with Facebook working tonight. So feel free to send me any questions you've got. But for now, that's me over and done with, and I look forward to chatting with you all soon. See you later.